Somebody told me if you tried to unbox a bunch of 6 cents heaters wearing GOOGAN Squad gear, that the internet would go down. Guess we're gonna have to find out. Alright, settle down. We're not gonna take the internet down today. What's up, everybody? Welcome to this episode of Fishing with Gramps. If you want to learn how to fish, just looking for a refresher course, maybe some tips, tricks, reviews, and unboxings, you come to the right spot. Seems like many of you are experiencing what we here in southern Indiana call a typical winter. 0 temperatures, ice, snow. I don't think my friends down in Texas are appreciating it though. I used to live in Texas. Met and married my bride in Texas. 3 of my kids were born in Texas. Texas gets hot. There's a reason why I don't live down there anymore. But it seems like you guys are going through a little bit of what we call wintertime. So anyway, I've been saying over the last few videos that I was gearing up to have more stuff because I'm going to be fishing out of a boat plus the kayak. And then it dawned on me. One of the things I've been doing is trying out new bait. As I've said in the past, normally if I just wanted to go catch fish, make it easy on myself, I'd go with the staples that I know. Strike King, Rapala, chatterbaits, Terminator, that whole nine. But I'm all into trying out new stuff to see if it's really worth all the hype. Does it catch fish or does it catch fishermen? So in my last several videos, you've seen me stacking up a bunch of different baits and doing a bunch of unboxings for stuff for the boat. And then I decided I was going to do something different for the kayak. So all those other rods and baits and things like that I have for the boat, that will be just for the boat. So every video you see on the boat will be about testing those rods and those baits. And so for the kayak, I will stick with my St. Croix rods that I bought just for the kayak last year. The majority of those St. Croix rods are the Mojo Yak Bassin, the bass rods designed for kayak anglers. They've got a little shorter, but makes it easier to maneuver the rod around your body. But I also have my St. Croix Rip and Chatter, which will go with me no matter which boat I want, because the chatterbait is my favorite bait of all the baits. And that St. Croix Rip and Chatter, along with the Lew's Pro TI, will follow me no matter where I'm fishing. That being said, St. Croix is also going to be launching a new line of rods coming up here very soon. And I'll probably do a video talking about those rods that they're going to be coming out with, since they're not going to be released until sometime in March. But that being said, there's another brand of baits that I've been wanting to check out. I'm sure many of you know what I'm talking about. You follow Ben Milliken, you follow Justin Royal, and you might even follow the Bait Man. That being said, I first heard about 6 Cents Baits from Matt Kiefer right here in southern Indiana, who happens to be one of Indiana's top kayak bass anglers. Just got back from fishing a bunch of KBF tournaments down in Florida, where I think he took like second and third and third in some of the tournaments down there. I'm actually looking forward to warmer weather where I can fish some kayak tournaments with him and a bunch of other kayak anglers from here in southern Indiana. So what I did was go into their Facebook group and ask, hey, if somebody was interested in first trying out a bunch of 6 Cents baits, what would you recommend? And they had no problem listing out several different baits to get me started with. So out of those baits, I picked the ones that follow my strength and also some crankbaits. I don't do a lot of crankbait throwing, but I wanted to give some a try. But 6 Cents also makes a lot of other little baits that I really wanted to try, so I made my own little sampler. As many of you know, I don't get into the whole mystery lucky, sacks, boxes, whatever, unless it's something that I know exactly what's in the bundle. But again, I didn't need to do that in this case because I just got a list from a bunch of different anglers and went out and kind of bought and picked and choose a bunch of the things that were actually available on 6 Cents website. Obviously 6 Cents was super popular because there's not a lot of stuff in stock, but there was enough there to get me started. So I used the code from the Bait Man and saved myself 10%. But I will say this, because I also got an email from 6 Cents yesterday saying that they offer a 15% discount to veterans. So you can bet your bottom dollar next time around, I'll be you in that. But hey, I wanted to help out the Bait Man, and I heard about him from Debo's Fishing. So we put an order in and got some 6 Cents stuff. Again, I'm wanting to try out all kinds of things this year. So what we're going to do is stock up with baits. And these baits, they won't touch the boat this year. They'll be used for the kayak only. Now somebody might say, JT, you got a new boat. You're going to be spending all your time on that water. No. Let me explain something first. First, I'm going to fish some kayak tournaments just for fun. I want to get into it a little more. I also want to bring that experience to you so I can show you how I learned how to become a tournament angler from the kayak perspective, doing some of the KBF stuff and some charity stuff. I think that's going to be kind of fun. But for me, I'm not going to be doing full-time tournament stuff because for me, tournaments are work. They're just not fun. I feel like I can't fish where I want to fish based on when I want to fish or how I want to fish because I feel like I just have to go tournament fishing. So I'm not going to do that. But what else is going to keep me in my kayak this year? My favorite place in Indiana to fish. You can't put a boat in unless it's super flooded. But it's also some place that I can go fish after work where it's easy for me to get my kayak in and out and it's loaded with really good fish. It's literally my favorite place to fish. It's where I taught my boys to kayak fish. It's literally where I took my son before he went to Afghanistan. And it's the first place we went and fished after he came back. It's just our favorite little honey hole. And it's something that I really treasure and I love fishing. So I'm not giving that up. So the 6th Sense stuff will be with me on the kayak as we test it out in my little honey hole. But enough yip yap. Let's get to the unboxing and see what we got to start with. Alright, so let's see what we got here. I don't even remember what all I ordered, but we'll get it out and take a look at it and go over it all. I will say this, there were some things that I still need to go back and get that I want to try. The frogs look really good, and I've heard a lot of people talk about their frogs. Of course, they were out of stock. Alright, so the first thing I got was one of their bags. Actually, I got a couple of their bags because I always like having bags to keep soft plastics in. So I got a couple of different sizes of their bags to test those out. I'm going to pop my glasses off because I can't read stuff with those on, but I can read it up close. Alright, so we'll start with the soft plastics. They have a lot of interesting, and I'll say this because it's new stuff that I want to try them out. Their soft plastic line is really interesting. So I saw some stuff and I got it because it's something like literally things that I've never thrown before. And I couldn't resist. Like this is a shaky head worm that is 9.5 inches long. The color is watermelon candy magic. And that is pretty amazing to me. But a fact that they would make a shaky head worm that big, that's awesome. I mean, I talk about big baits catch big bass. A shaky head worm that's 9.5 inches long. I can't wait to throw that. And the design of it is really, really, really cool. And this one is a ridge worm. And it's like a worm that's like, I don't know, 4 or 5 inches long, but has like a 6-inch tail. I'm really interested in throwing that like on a Texas rig. It's like the complete opposite lengths of something that you would get in like, say, a regular Berkeley power worm. You know, short, fat body, but with a super long tail. I have to believe this will be something that catches fish because it's something different from what fish would normally see. So yeah, I'm all about mixing it up. That's really cool. My favorite 3 colors, hands down, for fishing worms is green pumpkin, because you can always dip the tail in chartreuse, red shad, which is black and red, and then black and blue flake. For a lot of people, if you're new to bass fishing, the 2 colors, or 2 of the colors that bass see the best is green and reds. That's why you see a lot of people throwing red early on in the year. But in a little bit darker or murkier water, black and blue really stands out. It's almost like seeing a shadow of something. You know it's there because you see it in the shadow. That's kind of how black and blue is. So those are my 3 favorite colors. Those go with something else. I'll dig that up. Okay. So, you know, talking about the shaky heads, to throw those big shaky head worms on, I got these Divine shaky heads. That looks pretty cool. They look pretty stout. Looks like they're going to hold the bait up off the bottom really well. I kind of like the designs of these. I gotta say, I'm impressed with what I'm seeing so far. Attention to detail is something really... Sometimes you pay a little more for stuff like that, but that's why you're paying a little more. I also got some, you know, regular unpainted shaky heads. Alright, the next baits I got a couple of are jigs. And these in particular I got after watching a bunch of Justin Royal videos. He loves throwing swim jigs. And swim jigs are something I'm wanting to get more into. I love pitch and flipping, and I absolutely love skipping jigs up under branches and next to trees and all that. But coming up over grass, if it's a little too grassy for my favorite chatterbait or even a spinnerbait, a swim jig is something that's really, really good. Because if you take a swim jig like this and pair it up with swim baits like these Divine swim baits, man, those colors are really, really good. I mean, I really like the looks of that color. So I got a couple of the white colored Divine swim jigs and these platinum white, but also these Pro shads. I mean, look at the colors on that. Those are really, really sweet. And then, of course, you know me, I had to get some jigs. So I got a couple of the green pumpkin colored. Well, they call this a crawfish drone, but it's kind of a green pumpkinish color to me. It's a Divine hybrid jig. Then I also got some in, you know, black and blue. They call this dark proof. They have interesting, cool names, but take a little closer look at that. I really like the design of these. I really, really love the attention to detail. One thing that still drives me nuts to this day is seeing made in China in the back. But trust me, I get it. I understand that we've farmed out much of our economy overseas, and that's just the way it is. Hopefully some of these bait companies will start bringing manufacturing back into the U.S. But again, I won't not use somebody just because of that. I also picked up this bone chartreuse pearl color, they call it, swim jig. Take a little closer look at that. And these look awesome. I really got to say I love the attention to detail that 6th Sense does on their baits. I can understand why so many people are fans. All right, I got a bunch of baits in a bag. I guess if anything, oh, hey, look, I got a 6th Sense bag now, besides the plastic ones. But, oh, I know what these are. These are the soft plastics that I got for the jigs. They stick them in a bag, which is really cool. Oh, actually, it's more than just that. I guess they were looking for a reason to give me a bag, and I appreciate it, 6th Sense. That's actually kind of cool. I do like their logo. That's slick as well. Here we go. I got a couple of different creature baits. They call theirs the Stroker Crawl. These are both in 3.5. And that's one thing I love when bait companies do this. It's not just a single color, it's like a mix of colors. So this particular one's called Mexican Spice. It's kind of a watermelon red flake on one side and then chartreuse on the other. This is something that wasn't being done like 5 or 6 years ago when I was still actively fishing a bunch. Was, you know, colors on one side was different than the other. And I love the fact for this because you can literally turn it on your jig just to see if they want to see that little bit different color on the bottom or on the top, whatever gets their attention. But I got these to fish with the hybrid jigs. And then I got the Okeechobee Crawl, which is a great color to me. It's a green pumpkin mixed with some blues in it. But I think that's a really, really... They have a ton of different colors, and I can see when I start catching fish on these, I get the feeling down the road I'll be ordering lots and lots more of all of this because they really have some good looking stuff. I got some Divine shaky head worms because starting out at the beginning of the year, shaky head, cold water, things like that do really well. Then I also got the Clout, which is a 5.5-inch stick bait. You know, everybody's got their own version of the Senko. You'd be foolish not to. Senko has probably caught more fish than any other bait ever. I really like the texture of that and kind of the design they came up with for this. So I'm really looking forward to fishing all these baits. I mean, the funny thing, in 2021, I'm going to be throwing so many different and new baits. And again, I'm going to bring you guys all along for the ride. But keep in mind, all my reels are Lew's reels. In the kayak, we have St. Croix rods and 6th Sense. A lot of it. And don't get me wrong, I'm not leaving my chatterbaits home. And I'll probably have some different spinner baits with me. But this brand will be separate from the other brand. And we'll do, you know, I'm not going to do head-to-head. We're going to boat fish with one. We're going to kayak fish with the other. And then you guys can come along and see what you think. Build your own opinions. I'm going to try to do my job and just catch bass. All right, now we'll get into some hard baits. And again, I don't generally throw a lot of hard baits. But when other people are winning big tournaments because they're throwing hard baits, hey, even this old dog has to learn new tricks. My staples in fishing have been the spinnerbait, the jig, and a worm. Over the last few years, the chatterbait has become my favorite of favorites, and throwing other creature baits on a Texas rig has also become very popular. So hey, I'm open to trying new things and new brands. I mean, if you were going to ask me to throw a crankbait, the only thing that I ever thought that I ever needed to throw was a Bill Lewis rattle trap. Because I could catch any and everything on a Bill Lewis rattle trap. I could speed it up, I could slow it down, I could keep it in the water column where I wanted it. Now, like I've said in other videos, I haven't thrown a lot of hard baits over the last several years. I might throw a lipless crankbait every now and then. But gearing up, getting ready for this year, putting in early in the spring before the water starts really warming up, when it's really still cold out and the fish are really lethargic, what you want to start out with is a good solid jerkbait. So I picked up 3 different colors of the 6th Sense Provoke 106X jerkbait. Now I also picked up a topwater bait called the Catwalk. Be something that I tie on with a good loop knot so I can walk it across the top of the water. Now these next bunch of baits are pretty much just what I went with because it's what they kind of had available, but I also wanted to try them out. I got a couple of different Quake 70s. Now that's one thing I did notice are the black treble hooks that come with all of the 6th Sense crankbaits. Does anybody know who makes those, or are these specific to 6th Sense themselves? Drop me a comment down below if you know where the hooks come from, or who makes the hooks. Or are these something that 6th Sense does themselves and they're 6th Sense hooks? I'm just kind of curious. Of course, for early in the year, I had to get a Crimson Flash red lipless crankbait. Then the other kind they make, and I'm not sure what the difference is, maybe you guys can tell me, drop me a comment down below, is the Quake Thud 70. Is it just a different style of rattle? Is that what it is? I'll have to open these up and take a look at it. It says the Thud model has an intense knocking sound that offers a different sound of vibration than traditional BBs. So they've actually put something else in here that's a little bit different. This one is the Chrome Bacon. Everybody loves bacon. And then we've also got this Mad Bug Red. Look how beautiful that thing looks. One thing I've got to really say is 6th Sense does an amazing job with the details of everything they make. I really dig that. Maybe it'll make me drop my voice down and talk about heater. Alright, enough of my poor attempts at making a Justin Royal reference. Now, the most popular items recommended to me that were the hardest to find on the 6th Sense website, obviously because everybody else is stocking up for springtime, were the 100X and the 50X crankbaits. And I was also able to get a Crush 100X in chartreuse with the black back. Beautiful for stained water. Now I'm guessing I'm going to catch a bunch of fish on these and I'm probably going to end up ordering a bunch more. But again, my choices were limited because everybody else and their brother is out stocking up for springtime. So that's our first unboxing of 6th Sense products. Do you dig their stuff? Hey, drop me a comment down below. As for me, I got to get all this stuff organized into an edge box that's dedicated to this stuff to go into the kayak. And I can't dilly-dally around too long because I'm only a couple of weeks away from the first of 2 charity events I'm going to fish this year. Both are month-long charity kayak tournaments. The first charity event is for the Fallen Outdoors. The Fallen Outdoors mission is to organize outdoors adventures for veterans, past and present, from every generation and from all branches of the military. And then the second month-long tournament, towards the end of the season, is for Heroes on the Water, that organization that takes disabled veterans, puts them out in kayaks, takes them fishing, gets them out on the water. And I loved participating in that fishing tournament last year, and I'll be glad to do it again. Outside of that, I don't plan on fishing a lot of tournaments. The month-long tournaments become, well, work, and I'm all about fishing for fun. But when I'm fishing for charity, that's a completely different thing. So I'll do those 2 month-long charity events, but then I'm also going to participate in a couple handful of KBF tournaments that are here on local waters that are like a weekend event. I want to do that to connect with other kayak bass fishermen and show you guys what it's like to fish in some of these KBF tournaments, in case that's something you might be interested in. As I participate and learn, I'll share that with you along the way. Any mistakes I make, maybe I'll help you keep from making those mistakes as we go. But hey, should be a lot of fun. It's on local waters, so why not? You guys are really rocking it in the comments section. I can't tell you how much I appreciate all the wonderful feedback and just the day-to-day discussions that are going as we build this community. Here as it warms up, we'll be pushing out more videos teaching new anglers how to fish. Those of you that know how to fish, hey, feel free to jump in the comments section, give some advice along the way. Maybe we can inspire and help some new anglers catch their personal best, or even better, catch their very first bass. How awesome would that be? Let's also work together to promote and help parents or grandparents take their little ones out and catch them their first fish. 2021 is going to be an awesome year. You guys are awesome. I appreciate everything you've done, and we're just going to continue to grow. As we get closer to fishing season, I'm going to start launching out some how-to videos that's going to start from the very beginning. Be sure to tag me on Instagram. I want to share those pictures with you. As always, thanks for watching. Go outside if you can and make a memory, because they last a lifetime.